What is going on, guys? I'm Crazy Pickle and welcome back to another Skyforge video. Today we're gonna look at the Witch/Warlock class, and as usual it's gonna be abilities, weapons, class symbols, etc. Alright guys, let's get started. Taint has two charge levels. Taint casts a curse that deals X amount of damage to the target for 10 seconds. The effect can be boosted 3 times by repeatedly applying it to the target. The triple taint applies 3 levels of taint at once, dealing X amount of damage to the target for 10 seconds. So the triple taint, how you apply, it's basically you can only apply it once per fight. You're simply gonna have to hold your left mouse button and then release it, and it will apply 3 stacks of taint. Epidemic spreads taint and aging from the target to its nearby allies. Each of the effect can be spread to enemies only once per their duration, increases the size of Murder of Crows. Then we have the ability Transform, which basically changes between Curse stance and Extermination stance. Murder of Crows sends a Murder of Crows at the enemy that inflicts X amount of damage on the target and all enemies in 6-yard radius of it for 8 seconds. For each 0.5 seconds that Murder of Crows effect inflicts damage to 3 or more targets, the duration of the effect is increased by 0.5 seconds to a maximum of 7.5 seconds. The number of crows can be increased with Epidemic. Aging gradually reduces the movement speed of the selected enemy and prevents them from dashing. Epidemic can spread the effect to nearby targets. Dark Ritual performs a ritual for 5 seconds, restoring 90 points of magic every second. The magic is your energy, blue bar underneath your health, reduces damage to witch by 90% and makes them invulnerable to control effects for the duration. You can reduce the cooldown by 10 seconds by using Explosion of Darkness. Bewitch bewitches the enemies in front of the witch for 10 seconds. They slowly move towards the witch, unable to do anything else. The ability is available in PvE adventures only. Volatile Curse puts a dark curse on a target for 7 seconds. This curse absorbs damage if enough damage is inflicted to state it. It explodes, inflicting from 300% to 500% of the absorbed damage to its main target, and from 30% to 50% of absorbed damage to all enemies in 15-yard radius, knocking them down. Under normal circumstances, the witch needs help of their allies to satiate the curse in time. The more dangerous the curse target is, the more damage is required. The curse cannot inflict critical damage. Once ability is used, no one in a group can use it for 120 seconds. The ability is available in PvE adventures only. Racket of Crows. The witch opens a portal that creates a flock of crows that scares enemies, applying 3 stacks of taint on them and inflicting X amount of damage. Proven Remedy inflicts fatal damage to the enemy, available when the target has a small amount of health left, recharges magic. Now we're moving on to the talents. Flying on a broom. Instead of dashing, the witch will fly on a broom. The flight distance is 20 yards. When the witch is flying, incoming damage is reduced by 80%. Ninth Life. When the witch health drops to 0, she becomes invulnerable for 7 seconds and recovers full health. This effect works no more than once in 6 minutes. And the last one is the Elerium 9 talent, Dark Side. Using Living Helper for 3 seconds applies an effect to the target for 10 seconds, which increases the impulse damage from Explosion of Darkness to them by 150%. This special talent works both in PvE and PvP. So now we're moving on to the Extermination stance. So this is the number 1 ability, Transform. You can switch to the Extermination stance. So the first ability we have is Killer Crows. Inflicts damage on the enemy affected by your taint. Damage is increased if the target is affected by taint. If the target has 3 taint effect, they take X amount of damage. Activates Companion's attack. Keep in mind the Extermination stand, all of the stuff has to have the taint on the enemy in order to use these abilities. Explosion of Darkness removes all levels of taint from the target and inflicts damage proportional to the removed levels. 3 taint effect on the target causes them to take X amount of damage. The remaining damage from taint is partially compensated. Deals an extra X amount of damage for every taint effect on the target if their health is below 50%. reduces the cooldown of Dark Ritual by 10 seconds, activates Companion's attack, switches stances back to the cursed stance. Extermination removes all taint effect from the enemy around the current target, inflicting damage for each removed effect. If the target has 3 effects of taint applied to it, they take X amount of damage. Damage that removed taint had yet to inflict is partially compensated. Switches the stances. Living Helper spins the broom around the target for 7 seconds, inflicting X amount of damage and slowing them down. For the duration of the ability, Taint inflicts 5 times more damage to the target, only works against the target affected by Taint. Ring of Fire creates a ring of fire with an 8-yard radius that inflicts X amount of damage to enemies for 8 seconds. The ability is available in PvE adventures only. And so the last 2 abilities, which is the same Volatile Curse and the Bewitch, stays the same even on Extermination stance. Class Symbols. First one is Dark Envoys. In combat, the witch gains the Dark Envoys effect once every 10 seconds, and after every explosion of darkness or extermination, for every Dark Envoys effect, Agent summons a bloodthirsty crowd that deals X amount of damage. Targets affected by control effects take 20% more damage from Dark Envoys. The maximum number of crows is 6. Feathers of Darkness. Every created and spread effect of Taint reduce the cooldown of your ultimate ability by 2 seconds. Sabbath. If Dark Ritual is fully cast, the witch gains 15 effect of Sabbath and 3 more effects for every 90 points of sorcery missing, meaning your blue energy underneath your health bar, at the time the ability is activated. Each effect increases damage from the witch's class abilities by 1% for 12 seconds. Honestly, I cannot tell too much about the Dark Envoys and the Feather of Darkness. It's pretty explanatory. Dark Envoys, it might be used, so I never used it, I never tried it, so I cannot actually say anything about it, how it actually works. Is it really good or not? I'm pretty sure there is other people who actually tested, maybe in PvP and PvE. I didn't really have time to do it. I'm mostly using the Sabbath symbol because it's basically integrates in your rotation for maybe like a single target, at least for the single target rotation, like if you fight in the boss and distortions, etc. So if you have any information for the Dark Envoys, is it good? Is it any good? Can you use it in PvP? Is it really good in PvE maybe? So please leave a comment down below and let me know. I will definitely appreciate that. But I'm using the Sabbath at all times. The more energy you're missing before you're using the Dark Ritual, of course, the more bonus damage you will gain. So I think this would be the best symbol at the moment for the witch. If you have any other opinions on all of the class symbols, of course, leave them on in the comment section down below. Alright, let's talk about the weapons. So far the witch only have 2 weapons. One is the Duality of Nature, that's the mechanoid weapon, and the second one is the Astral Stream. The Astral Stream was the first weapon, pay-to-win weapon, introduced to the Warlock/Witch, and then the second one they come up with Duality of Nature. So the Duality of Nature we only used once when the Invasion Atlas had an upgrade for the Volatile Curse upgrade, which was boosting your damage against the enemies if you break the Volatile Curse by like 30 or something percent. The Duality of Nature, what it does, damage needed to break the Volatile Curse is reduced by half, which makes it easier to break. The ability can be cast 3 times more often. The Destroyed Curse reduced cooldown duration of the Racket Crows by 2 minutes, which the last part, it doesn't really matter. The only matters is that you can break it, the Volatile Curse, by half, so it's easier to break, and you can cast it more often compare if you wouldn't have the weapon. The next weapon is the Astral Stream, which is the best weapon right now at the moment for the Warlock. It's using the Witch Explosion of Darkness, which is your extermination stand, and may turn the Murder of Crows into the Wicked Storm, which carries enemies off and deals X amount of damage to them. Alright, so let's see if I can actually show it to you how that actually works. So what we first have to do, of course, we're gonna have to apply 3, switch to the stance, and here we go. So what it does, it has like what, up to like about 20 seconds, and you just like launch it, grabs the enemies, deals a little bit of damage, and it also will explode at the end, deals the damage as well. So of course it's a training room, mobs are always in one spot, but usually just drags them into the direction where the actual hurricane goes. So that's basically how it works, and it deals a pretty good damage actually. So for now, this is the best weapon at the moment. And that's pretty much all for the weapons. Again, the jewelry and gems of power stay the same if you go for the DPS. Artifacts, again, whatever you have, I guess you can use it as long as it has like that increased damage dealt as high as possible. And of course, the 300% health bonus, it's the max because all of the artifacts are generation 14 is the cap right now. I hope they're not going to increase that, but this is the cap because it was been capped for a long time. And yeah, we're gonna move on to the last part of this video where we're gonna talk about the class. If you look at this class for the first time, it might look too complicated. Trust me, I had the same feeling as well. But you're only using limited amount of abilities for 2 rotation, of course, single target and the multiple targets. If you wanna learn those, I'm gonna leave a link in the description. It is an old video, but nothing changed since then. So, Witch or Warlock is a great class for late end game. Not really recommend to get this class in the beginning of the game or if you're somewhere in the middle. Mostly it would have more sense to use this class only for distortion, but of course you can use this class anywhere else if you wanted to, it's just not that effective on my opinion. So some time ago they did boost Taint ability, which is your basic attack, and it seems damage output from this class is definitely better now compared to where it was before. After seeing all of the screenshots from other players, how much damage they did during raids is surprisingly good. But still, I don't recommend this class for other daily things other than distortions or avatar. Pay to win weapon doesn't make actually a big difference for this class. Yes, it does give that extra control option when it procs, but damage bonus is the same. So you can actually play Witch with a purple weapon for distortions and avatar, as long as you do proper rotation, link in the description, and time that with buffs properly. The only difference you'll have damage-wise is your progression in the Invasion Atlas, your gear, and how high your might is. Like I said earlier, better use that class if you want to, in a late endgame, when you're really close to be maxed or maxed on everything. That is my thoughts on that. Now I would like to hear your opinion in the comment section down below. In general, cooldown of abilities is fine to me. Maybe tweak a little bit, maybe ultimate needs to be reduced just a little bit. Most of the time you have to be perfect on timing to have abilities you use for your rotation on the next buff round, which creates a bit of a challenge and make you pay more attention. And who doesn't like that, am I right? I mean the challenge. Some abilities pointless to use, like Bewitched, Extermination, and even Volatile Curse. So far, I see rarely anyone using those abilities unless there is an upgrade in the Invasion Atlas that would make them actually worth using it. Big downside, I think, is that Witch is a super squishy class. Like really bad. I think Cryomancer and the Witch are on the same level of squishiness. Also, this is the only class that doesn't require to have a pay-to-win weapon to boost your damage. At least that's what I think and that's what I see so far. Anyway guys, I think I've said everything I wanted to say. If you have anything to add, please feel free to jump in the comment section and share your thoughts. As always, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you don't, dislike it. Don't forget to subscribe as well and hit that notification bell that you're not gonna miss when I post new video or going live. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord server, link in the description. Until the next time, take care.